No one ever said that owning an old boat would be easy. We have owned Silver Lining for about 6 months now, and in that time, we've had fun sailing her to all these new places. The more you're around something though, a house, a car, a boat, you will find things that need to be fixed.
It's a little more solid right there. It's still wet, but...
Wow.
After finding rotten core in our deck, it was time to get to work on our biggest repair yet. And after all, what really is the point of owning something if you aren't going to put a little bit of love into it?
We're about to take the windlass out.
No, our main goal is to repair the bow. The windlass is just in the way.
I'm done filming.
When we got this boat, one of the big issues that the surveyor brought up was that we have a huge soft spot in the deck, which from what I think from tapping on it, what the surveyor said, it probably runs back to like here, just behind the windlass and the controls, and then it basically runs as far up as maybe it can go. I know that it goes at least to this point because you can actually like move that piece of hardware around. So yeah, today we're taking like stuff off, including the windlass, which we can't get off, so that's probably going to be cut out of the deck, and then we're going to be rebuilding all this. This is like a big, probably the biggest project that we've had so far.
Are you nervous about doing this?
Not really.
The first step in this process is to get rid of all of the deck fittings. This has got to be one of the quickest parts of the project, but also one of the scariest because we don't know how bad this rot's going to be until we take everything off.
I don't know if I cut all the way through this or not. I think it's actually solid wood back here. Maybe not. It's a little more solid right there. It's still wet, but
Wow.
I really need like a chisel.
Do you want me to help you hold it?
The deck is probably really soft here, huh?
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's gonna be loud, probably. That's not very thick. Good thing we'll close that up tomorrow.
Yeah. Wow.
It's weird looking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's scary when you look at it like that. I feel like
Yeah.
you just fucked it up.
I know.
But we're making it better, so hopefully.
I think so.
Yeah, it's not as bad as we thought, or at least as I thought. We almost got all of the rot done or like removed today, so we got the windlass off, we got all of the fittings minus the 2 bow cleats.
Windlass is a heavy bitch, isn't it?
Yeah. That windlass is like 50 pounds probably, and it just dropped down to the anchor locker, and then picking it up out of there was like a pain. But
finally got that out. That
Yeah.
thing hasn't really worked super great.
I was
It's
getting
like,
nervous
works,
with it.
doesn't work, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Come back tomorrow and maybe finish.
Yeah.
The next morning, we had a few more fittings to remove, and the only way to access those is from the anchor locker, so we sent the smallest person in. We decided to replace the old rotten out balsa core with new balsa core. We made this decision because balsa is fairly inexpensive, it's very lightweight, it was the original material used, and end grain balsa actually does a fairly good job at not allowing water to travel horizontally through the deck. Because of the way it is cut, it does not allow water to pass very easily through it.
Alrighty, so while Sailor is working on the deck, I am going to try to figure out how to use our oven. So I'm going to turn it on and try to figure it out because I still can't really remember how to even turn on the stovetop and everything. So I know I need to turn on. Working.
Nice.
Wow.
How'd you have to light it?
Look at this. Sorry.
Nice.
You have a little circle of like just powder. Just like dust all over you.
Work.
Mm-hmm.
Almost done.
You hungry? Hopefully
Very.
our food won't take like 5 hours to cook, so. I mean, it's
First thing
already
is
kind
the
of...
oven. Yeah,
It's already
cooked.
kind
You can eat it like that.
Look at this guy.
So we are back. It has been 2 days now since we have replaced the core and the deck and the bow. The epoxy's hardened really well. I think we're pretty solid there. But we did have kind of like something that we weren't expecting. We had put cardboard with plastic wrap underneath where the holes were for the windlass and a couple other holes like the controls for the windlass, and the washdown pump outlet was there. So we had holes there that needed to be supported when we put the new glass and the new balsa core and all that there, and kind of like replacing the skin that was missing there on the bottom. So we ended up taping cardboard with saran wrap to the bottom skin, and part of that actually came loose when I guess everything was hardening. We were like putting more and more layers on. So we actually have a sag of thickened epoxy basically where the old windlass used to be. And it's sagged a lot, probably like 1.5 inches or so. So since we're gonna be putting a new windlass on and we're gonna need a fairly smooth surface there to put a backing plate and just making sure like everything is really fully supported, I'm gonna take the grinder and I'm gonna go ahead and grind off everything that is sagged. So yeah, that's the game plan. Turned out pretty good. We just got some more cleanup to do and a little bit more finish work to do. So let's get to it. Okay guys, we are back at the boat. It has been 2 days since we cleaned up the area in the bow locker where all the silica was. The boat is like absolutely covered in dust. Like just everything here is just covered in dust. So tonight I'm gonna be
hopefully just putting on the fiberglass layers on the bottom of the skin here. Really the only reason why I'm doing this is because, you know, if we didn't have this hole from the windlass or the other pieces, that like the other deck hardware that was there, I would still have a full thickness bottom skin layer that was there originally. But since we cut out the windlass because it was seized and we couldn't get the windlass apart, now we have like a gaping hole there where the windlass used to be in the bottom skin. So that, I don't know, I feel like is a weak spot. So that's something that I want to make strong, especially because we're going to be putting another windlass there. I want to make sure that that whole area is like as strong as it can be. So yeah, let's get to cleaning and doing some fiberglass work. We just finished. Thank God. That took me a long time. That took me like probably 2 hours. First, I was like wetting out all the fiberglass before I went to stick it, and it was way too wet where it actually wouldn't like stick to the top. It was all like sliding down as way too epoxied, I guess. Man, it was hard, especially up here in this little tiny area that I was working in. It's so small in there, and you can barely like curl up in there. And then the ceiling, or I guess the deck, is so close to you that, you know, you don't really have like any working room in here. So you're kind of like working on the inside, working on the outside of the door here. And it's just like, it's a pain. But anyway, that's it. I don't know if you can see in the camera the glass, because the glass is so transparent. But yeah, it looks pretty good to me. Yeah, so I have like one layer of glass that covers the hole where I guess like the fittings were in the windlass, and then I've got 3 layers of like big sheets of glass that cover the whole thing. So I feel pretty good about it. I think it looks pretty good. I'm gonna leave the boat a mess. It is like I've got just stuff like everywhere. This is the V-berth, and then I don't know if you can see the mess that's back there, but everything here is just like a total mess. Once we do this, when we put the windlass on, like, the only other thing I want to do is put solar panels on. Okay guys, well, after our like really warm day the other day when we were putting the fiberglass on, we have like a 35-degree day. It actually snowed earlier.